And probably these past days will be recorded as the days of defending Shushi.
Հետախուզա դիվերսիոն առանձին վաշտային մարտավարական խմբերի, վարձկանների, հերոսական խմբերի ոչնչացման գյորբագյոր ռազմագործողությունը հաջողությամբ շարունակվում
successfully implementing the Gyor military operation, where we are destroying separate groups of adversary military forces and mercenary forces. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of dead bodies of the mercenaries hired by the adversary in the area around Shushi, and we are going to present photo and video evidence in the coming days. Even now, the process is ongoing, but not as intense as in the past few days. In the other front lines, the military activities have not been as intense. On the roads leading to Shushi, the heroic Karintakci people have destroyed even more military forces of the adversary. Towards east and south, again, on the roads that would eventually lead to Shushi, we have destroyed Azerbaijani forces that were hurrying to assist their friends around Shushi. Today is one of the most heroic days of defending Shushi, because Shushi is ours and Shushi will not fall as much as Aliyev may wish it. I assure you that the Armenian army will fight till the end and Shushi shall not fall. And now on to questions.
Ռուսաստանի արտաքին տեղեկատվության ղեկավար Սերգեյ Նարիշկին այսօր խոսել է թուրքական
տեղեկատվության head of Russian foreign services spoke about support to Azerbaijan. What do you think the effect of this support was on the war? We have mentioned several times that not only the military forces of Turkey, not only separate segments of armed forces of Turkey work for Azerbaijan, but the entire country with its investigation and military armed forces. We have actually underlined there is no such a thing as head of Azerbaijani armed forces. We have head of Turkish military headquarters, in addition to several groups of mercenaries and other forces. Azatutsun radio station. David Baban, assistant to our president of Artsakh, mentioned that today was a difficult day in terms of fights near Shushi and Stepanakert. Could you explain what is the situation there? And I think I already answered this question in my report. I can say that I've spoken before the briefing. I have spoken to our armed forces fighting there, and they said that during the entire war, our artillery has never been so brilliant as today. The operation of protecting Shushi is not over yet, because the fights are still ongoing. And I can't say that everything is great and we're not going to face such heavy days anymore, but we have overcome the situation and the situation has changed. We're not going to have the same state of affairs as tomorrow. But again, let me tell you that these 2 days were rather heavy and extensive. combat Telegram channel. First is the beginning of the war. Azerbaijan restricted the use of social networks inside the country, giving false information to its people. After these past 2 days of failure in Azerbaijani social networks, we're seeing certain panic, and they are criticizing criticizing the country. What do you think will happen if this information, if they open the use of all social networks? Regardless of opening or closing anything in Azerbaijan, there is a lot of discontent in Azerbaijan, and the results of this discontent will still surprise you. Narek Arushanyan, what is the situation in Hadrut? Are there diversion groups there, both in Hadrut and neighboring villages? I've already said what the state of affairs is. The fights are ongoing, and the forces of the adversary are trying in any way possible, and the preferable way for them has always been the main highways. They are all trying to get to Shushi, but the terrain around Shushi will become a permanent hell for them. We have shown certain photos today, and there are even scarier photos which we haven't shown you yet. No more questions, I think. Oh, sorry, I missed a question. Շրջապատ newspaper. If we were facing fifth generation war in the past few weeks, and now we are facing a different type of war, is it possible that they are solving different problems right now, and they're preparing for a different type of war, and maybe there will be many military problems in Azerbaijan? I essentially already answered this question, but the past few days, the Azerbaijanis trying to get to Shushi were not actually diversive activities. You saw from today's videos that these are military groupings of mercenaries, elite groups, which have been enforced with portable and light weapons. They are well armed, and they have undergone a type of training that they can fight day and night, and they are being backed up with their artillery. But today I can assure you that even the fight of these separate groups, even if the fight of these separate groups is ongoing around Shushi, the artillery itself, the Armenian artillery, did defeat the artillery of the adversary, and that is a fact. No more questions, I guess. So at the moment, our armed forces are still fighting. The fight is not as intense as in the past few days. Dear compatriots, the war is going on, and it's a cruel war. This is an existential fight for Armenians. It is not the war of Karindak village. It is not the war of Shushi or the fight of Shushi. This is the existential war of the Armenian nation. Trust our army and believe in the force of the Armenian soldier, and we shall prevail.